The stars shimmered outside the massive viewport as Ambassador Thelkar reviewed the files on his datapad. Another primitive species, another simple annexation. He had done this 63 times before in his long career. The process was always the same. His ship, the Eternal Glory, floated at the edge of Earth's solar system. Behind him, 9 other vessels of the galactic confluence waited in perfect formation. Their silver hulls reflected the distant sun's light, creating an impressive display of power and technology. Thelkar was a Vryn, standing nearly 3 meters tall with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. His people had been members of the confluence for 8,000 years. They were one of the founding species, proud and dignified. He wore the purple robes of a high ambassador, decorated with medals from dozens of successful negotiations. "Tell me about these humans," Thelkar said to his assistant, a small insect-like being named Click. Click's translator device hummed to life. "They are young, Ambassador. Very young. They only invented faster-than-light travel 70 years ago. They have approximately 400 ships, mostly mining vessels and cargo transports. Maybe 50 proper warships," Thelkar nodded slowly. "And their civilization? Fragmented. They have over 200 separate governments on their homeworld alone. They fight among themselves constantly. Their history is filled with wars and conflicts. They seem incapable of unity." "Perfect," Thelkar said. "Divided species always accept protection quickly. They fear their own neighbors more than they fear us." The confluence had ruled the galaxy for 12,000 years. 847 species lived under their guidance. Some called it an empire. The confluence preferred the term benevolent leadership. They brought peace, order, and civilization to the chaos of the galaxy. The method was simple. Find a new species. Offer them a choice. Join the confluence as a protected species or face military action. In 12,000 years, every species had chosen peace. Why would these humans be different? "Send the standard greeting," Thelkar commanded. Click activated the communication system. The message was transmitted in every language the humans used. It was a grand speech about the glory of the confluence, the benefits of membership, and the generous offer being extended to humanity. 6 hours later, a response arrived. A human woman appeared on the screen. She had brown skin and dark hair pulled back tightly. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She wore a simple gray uniform with minimal decoration. "I am Secretary General Maria Santos of the United Earth Council," she said. Her voice was calm and measured. "We have received your message, Ambassador Thelkar. We appreciate your interest in our species." "Then you accept our protection?" Thelkar asked, already preparing the standard contracts. "No," Santos said simply. Thelkar blinked all 4 of his eyes in confusion. "I do not understand. Did the translation fail?" "The translation was perfect, Ambassador. We decline your offer. Earth will remain independent." "Independent?" Thelkar's voice rose slightly. "You are barely capable of interstellar travel. You fight among yourselves. You need our guidance," Santos smiled slightly. "We appreciate your concern, but we have managed our affairs for thousands of years. We will continue to do so." Another human appeared beside Santos on the screen. He was older, with gray hair and a hard face. He wore a dark blue military uniform with many medals. "This is Admiral James Kozlov, commander of Earth's Defense Forces," Santos said. "He will explain our military position." Kozlov leaned forward. "Ambassador, we understand the confluence is powerful. We understand you have superior technology and numbers, but Earth is not interested in becoming a protected species. We will defend our sovereignty if necessary." Thelkar could not believe what he was hearing. "You would fight the entire galactic confluence?" "If you force us to," Kozlov said simply. "You would lose," Thelkar said flatly. "Perhaps," Kozlov admitted, "but we would make you pay for every meter of space. Every planet, every moon. We humans have a saying, Ambassador. We do not go gentle into that good night." Thelkar ended the transmission. He stood silent for a long moment, processing what had just happened. No species had ever refused the first offer. Not in 12,000 years. "Click, summon the council," he said finally. "We need to discuss this situation." The Galactic Council met via holographic transmission. 12 species leaders materialized around the conference table. They listened to Thelkar's report with growing disbelief. "These humans are clearly insane," said Council Member Vrix, a floating energy being. "We must show them the consequences of refusal." Agreed, rumbled Council Member Gormath, a massive reptilian creature. Send the demonstration fleet. Let them see our power. Thelkar activated the tactical display. I recommend we send Battle Group 7. 20 ships should be sufficient to demonstrate our capabilities without starting an actual war. The Council agreed. Within hours, 20 Confluence warships appeared near Earth's moon. They performed combat maneuvers showing off their speed and weapons. They broadcasted power readings and shield strength. The message was clear. Resistance is futile. Earth's response was unexpected. They did nothing. They did not flee. They did not attack. They simply watched. Then Admiral Kozlov sent a message. Impressive ships, Ambassador. Very impressive. We would like 30 days to consider your offer more carefully. Thelkar felt relief wash over him. Finally, they were being reasonable. 30 days is acceptable. But understand, if you refuse again, we will be forced to take action. We understand perfectly, Kozlov said. Thank you for your patience. The Confluence fleet withdrew to the edge of the solar system to wait. Thelkar felt confident. The demonstration had worked. It always worked. In 30 days, the humans would accept reality. He had no idea that humanity was already preparing for war. Deep in hidden asteroid bases, in classified facilities on Mars, in underground bunkers on Earth, humans were activating plans that had been made decades ago. Plans for the day when humanity would face a superior enemy. Plans that would shock the galaxy. The 30-day countdown began. Thelkar spent his time studying human culture, trying to understand these strange beings. What he learned disturbed him. Their history was filled with violence, yes, but also with incredible resilience. They had survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and near-extinction events. They had fought each other for thousands of years and somehow still survived. He pushed the concerns aside. History did not matter when facing the might of the Confluence. In 30 days, Earth would join the other 847 species in peaceful submission. He was certain of it. The 30 days passed slowly for Ambassador Thelkar. He spent the time reviewing intelligence reports about humanity. Everything confirmed what he already believed. They were weak, divided, no match for the Confluence. The Intelligence Division had counted Earth's military forces carefully. 412 ships total. Most were old mining vessels converted for military use. Their weapons were primitive kinetic cannons and nuclear missiles. Their fastest ships could barely reach half the speed of Confluence vessels. They have no chance, Click said, reading the same reports. Our shields alone could withstand everything they have. Thelkar nodded. Still, I hope they choose peace. War is always unfortunate, even against primitives. On the 30th day, Thelkar sent a message to Earth. Secretary General Santos, your time is complete. What is your answer? Santos appeared on screen again. Admiral Kozlov stood beside her. Both looked calm. Ambassador Thelkar, we have considered your offer carefully, Santos said. Our answer remains the same. No. Earth will remain free and independent. Thelkar felt anger rise in his chest. Then you have chosen war. The blood will be on your hands. We chose freedom, Kozlov said quietly. You chose war. The transmission ended. Thelkar immediately contacted the Confluence Military Command. They have refused again. Send Pacification Fleet Zeta 9. Within hours, 75 Confluence warships entered Earth's solar system. They were beautiful vessels, sleek and powerful, with energy shields glowing around their hulls. Fleet Commander Zix led them, a veteran of 100 peacekeeping missions. Standard formation, Zix ordered. We move toward Earth. Weapons charged but not aimed. We give them one final chance to surrender. The fleet advanced slowly, majestically. They expected to find Earth's small military scrambling in panic. Perhaps some ships fleeing to deep space. Maybe desperate messages begging for mercy. Instead, they found a nightmare. As the Confluence fleet passed Mars, sensors suddenly screamed warnings. Ships appeared everywhere. Not 400 ships, thousands of ships. They materialized from nowhere, surrounding the Confluence fleet in three-dimensional formations that made no tactical sense. Where did they come from? Zix shouted. Our sensors showed nothing. The human ships were dark and angular, covered in strange, non-reflective coating. They moved in patterns no military computer could predict. They seemed to flicker in and out of existence on sensors. "All ships, raise shields, defensive formation," Zix commanded. The human ships did not wait. They attacked with terrifying precision. It was not like any battle the Confluence had ever fought. Human weapons fired from impossible angles. Missiles appeared from empty space and struck with perfect accuracy. Ships that sensors said were kilometers away suddenly fired at point-blank range. A Confluence cruiser exploded. Then another. Then 3 more. "Return fire," Zix screamed. The Confluence ships fired their powerful energy weapons, but the human ships moved like water, flowing around the beams. When Confluence weapons did hit, human shields absorbed the impacts in ways that defied physics. Commander Zix watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. Human tactics made no sense. They did not fight honorably in formation. They struck from shadows, disappeared, and struck again. They targeted engines first, crippling ships, then life support, then weapons they disabled rather than destroyed, prolonging the terror. "Retreat," Zix finally ordered. "All ships retreat." But there was no retreat. Human ships blocked every escape route. They herded the Confluence fleet like animals into a tighter and tighter space. 11 minutes after the battle began, it was over. 73 Confluence ships were destroyed or disabled. Only 2 escaped, both heavily damaged. The human fleet had taken 0 losses. Zix's ship was drifting, engines dead, life support failing. He sent one final message before his communication systems died. "They were waiting for us. They knew everything. We never had a chance." The 2 surviving ships limped back to Thelkar's position at the edge of the solar system. He listened to their reports with growing disbelief. Impossible. All of it impossible. Then a new transmission arrived from Earth. Admiral Kozlov's face filled the screen. "Ambassador Thelkar, I hope you received our message clearly," Kozlov said. His voice was cold now, hard as steel. "You asked for our answer. That was our answer." Behind Kozlov, the human ships were visible through the viewport. Thousands of them, all still perfectly intact. "How?" Thelkar whispered. "Our intelligence said you only had 400 ships." Kozlov smiled without humor. "Ambassador, humanity learned a long time ago that in war, deception is everything. Those 400 ships, those are our cargo vessels and patrol boats. What you just fought was less than 20% of our actual military. Where did you hide them? Our sensors are designed to detect ships using Confluence technology," Kozlov interrupted. "We don't use your technology. We developed our own path. Our ships use quantum stealth systems. Our weapons use principles your scientists haven't discovered yet. And our tactics?" He leaned forward. "Our tactics come from 10,000 years of human beings fighting and killing each other. We are very, very good at war." Thelkar felt fear for the first time in his long life. "What do you want?" "We want you to leave," Kozlov said simply. "Take your ships and go. Tell your Confluence that Earth is off limits. If you come back, we will not be merciful again." "Merciful?" Thelkar's voice rose. "You destroyed an entire fleet." "We disabled most of them," Kozlov corrected. "We are transmitting coordinates for recovery operations. Your people will survive if you send rescue ships quickly. We could have killed everyone, Ambassador. We chose not to. That is mercy." The transmission ended. Thelkar sat in silence for a long time. Then he ordered his ships to withdraw from human space. As they retreated, he began composing his report to the Galactic Council. News of the battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. For the first time in 12,000 years, the Galactic Confluence had been defeated. Not in a long war, not in a struggle between equals. In 11 minutes by a species they had called primitive. The galaxy watched. The galaxy wondered. And the galaxy asked the same question Thelkar had asked. How, but more importantly, what would the Confluence do next? The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Holographic projections of council members flickered and shouted at each other. Some demanded immediate revenge. Others called for caution. A few spoke of peace, order. High Chancellor Morveth slammed his staff against the floor. The sound echoed through the chamber. Slowly, the council members fell silent. Morveth was ancient even by galactic standards. His species lived for thousands of years. He had seen the confluence rise to power. He had personally negotiated with hundreds of species. He had never seen anything like this. We must respond, Council Member Vrick said, his energy form pulsing with anger. We cannot let this insult stand. Every species in the galaxy is watching. If we show weakness, the entire confluence will collapse. Vrix is correct, rumbled Gormath. We must teach these humans a lesson. Crush them completely. Other council members agreed. The room filled with calls for war. Morveth raised his staff again. If we go to war, we must win. Absolutely and completely. We cannot afford another defeat. He turned to the military commander present. Grand Admiral Vexthor, your assessment? Grand Admiral Vexthor stepped forward. He was a krill, a warrior species known throughout the galaxy. His 4 eyes were cold and calculating. His scaled skin bore scars from 100 battles. He had been in retirement for 20 years, called back for this emergency. The humans surprised us, Vexthor said bluntly. They used tactics we have never seen. Technology we did not anticipate. But they are still just one species, one star system. We are 847 species, 12,000 star systems. If we commit our full strength, they cannot stand against us. How many ships? Morveth asked. I recommend 15,000 vessels, Vexthor said. 40% of our total military. We will overwhelm them with numbers. No tricks or tactics can defeat such force. 15,000? Some council members gasped. For one planet? They destroyed 73 ships in 11 minutes, Vexthor said coldly. We must take them seriously. The council voted. The decision was unanimous. War Vexthor immediately began mobilizing the largest confluence fleet assembled in 4,000 years. Ships came from every corner of the galaxy. Battleships, cruisers, carriers, destroyers. The fleet gathered at Rally Point Sigma, a massive space station near the galactic core. It took 3 months to assemble everything. During that time, Vexthor studied every piece of data about the first battle. He watched the recordings again and again. The human tactics bothered him. They were not just different. They were wrong in a fundamental way. Confluence military doctrine was based on honor and tradition. Ships fought in formation. Commanders gave orders. Everyone followed the rules. But humans seemed to have no rules. They fought like chaos itself. They are savages, his second-in-command said. No discipline. No honor. No, Vexthor said slowly. They have discipline. But it is a different kind. They are like a storm. Unpredictable but not random. Chaotic but not without purpose. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity was not idle. Secretary General Santos stood in the war room deep beneath Geneva. Holographic displays showed confluence fleet movements across the galaxy. The enemy was gathering. She had expected this. They are bringing everything, Admiral Kozlov said, studying the numbers. 15,000 ships. Maybe more. Can we win? Santos asked. Kozlov was silent for a moment. In a straight fight? No, they outnumber us badly, but we are not going to fight straight. Around the war room, representatives from every human nation sat together. For the first time in history, Earth was truly united. The old conflict seemed meaningless now. They faced an enemy that wanted to take their freedom. Everything else could wait. What is our strategy? Asked General Chen from the Asian Alliance. Kozlov activated a new display. We evacuate all non-military personnel from our outer colonies. We fortify supply lines. We prepare fallback positions. And we make them bleed for every light year. Guerrilla warfare, said General Okonkwo from the African Federation. In space, exactly, Kozlov said. We cannot match their numbers. But we can make the cost unbearable. We can make them afraid. We can make them question whether conquering us is worth it. Santos knew Kozlov was right, but she also knew war was not the only path. She sent one more message to the confluence. One final attempt at peace. Ambassador Thelkar received the message personally. He had been demoted after the first battle, but he was still the confluence's expert on humans. Secretary General Santos appeared on his screen. She looked tired. Ambassador Thelkar, I am sending this message personally to you. Please listen carefully. We do not want war. We never wanted war. All we want is to live free. To control our own destiny, to make our own choices, she paused. I know your confluence has brought peace to many species. I know you believe you are doing good. But peace without freedom is just slavery with better conditions. We would rather die free than live as subjects. However, she continued, we are willing to negotiate, not as subjects to rulers, but as equals. We can join your confluence as full members with equal votes and equal rights. We can share our technology. We can work together. But we will never kneel. Thelkar listened. Part of him understood. He had spent months studying human history. He had learned about their revolutions, their wars for independence, their endless fight for freedom. They were not like other species. They would never accept domination. He took the message to the council. Equals. Council member Vrix laughed. They want to be equals with species that have been civilized for thousands of years? Absurd. They have demonstrated impressive military capability, Thelkar argued carefully. Perhaps we should consider no, Gormath roared. We consider nothing. Grand Admiral Vexthor's fleet will launch in 1 week. The humans will submit, or they will be destroyed. There will be no negotiation. Thelkar tried again. High Chancellor, I have studied these humans. They will not surrender. If we go to war, it will be bloody. Both sides will suffer terribly. Is it not wiser to— Enough, Morveth said tiredly. The decision is made. The fleet will launch. You are dismissed, Thelkar. Thelkar left the council chamber. He sent one message to Santos. Just 2 words, I'm sorry. On Earth, Santos read the message. She understood. Peace had failed. Admiral Kozlov, she said quietly, activate all defense protocols. Send word to our colonies. The storm is coming. Kozlov saluted. We will be ready. Around Earth and its colonies, humanity prepared. They had hoped for peace. They had offered friendship. The confluence had chosen war. Now they would see what humanity was truly capable of. The galaxy was about to learn a hard lesson. There is no enemy more dangerous than one fighting for their freedom. Grand Admiral Vexthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, Infinite Justice. Behind him stretched the largest armada in confluence history. 15,000 warships filled space for light years in every direction. It was a sight of terrible beauty. All fleets report ready, Admiral, his communications officer said. Vexthor nodded. Begin the advance. Standard formation. Battle speed. The armada moved like a vast metal wave toward human space. It would take them 2 weeks to reach Earth. Vexthor used that time to drill his forces endlessly. He made sure every commander knew their role. No surprises this time. No tricks would save the humans, but the humans did not wait for the armada to arrive. 3 days into the confluence advance, alarms began sounding across the fleet. Reports flooded in from the rear formations. Admiral, we have lost contact with supply convoy Epsilon 12. Battle Group 7 reports they are under attack. We have enemy contacts appearing throughout the fleet. Vexthor rushed to the tactical display. Red markers appeared across the holographic map. Human ships were hitting supply convoys, medical ships, support vessels. They appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. How are they getting behind our lines? Vexthor demanded. No one had an answer. Human ships seemed to be using hyperspace routes the confluence did not know existed. They moved through space in ways that should not be possible. All combat vessels form protective screens around support ships. Vexthor ordered. We continue forward, but the attacks continued. Day after day, night after night. The humans never stopped. They did not fight fair battles. They ambushed supply ships. They destroyed fuel depots. They hacked communication networks and sent false orders. They appeared, killed, and disappeared like ghosts. Worse, they used psychological warfare. Confluence soldiers began finding strange messages in their personal computers, videos showing their families back home, messages saying, "We know where you live," pictures of their home planets with targeting coordinates. None of it was actual threats, but the fear was real. They are inside our systems, Vexthor's cyber warfare officer reported. Our quantum encryption means nothing to them. They can read everything we send. How? Vexthor demanded. I do not know, Admiral. Their technology is beyond my understanding. The fleet pressed on, but morale was dropping. Soldiers who had never known fear were now looking over their shoulders constantly. Every shadow might hide a human ship. Every system alert might be the last thing they heard. Then the humans deployed their terror weapons. A confluence destroyer was ambushed near an asteroid field. Human ships appeared and disabled it quickly, but they did not destroy it. Instead, they hacked the ship's communication system and broadcasted the screams of the dying crew across all confluence frequencies. The message was clear. "This is what happens when you invade our space, barbarians," Council Member Vrick shouted when he heard the recording. "They are animals." But Vexthor understood. It was psychological warfare. Make the enemy afraid. Make them hesitate. Make them want to go home. The humans were not being cruel for cruelty's sake. They were being efficient. "It is working," he admitted to his officers. "Half our crews are terrified. Medical reports show stress levels are critical, and we have not even reached their core systems yet." Still, the Armada continued. They had lost 800 ships to raids and ambushes, but they still had over 14,000 vessels. The numbers were still on their side. Then they reached the first major human colony, New Terra. Vexthor expected a massive defensive fleet, fortifications, planetary shields. Instead, they found the planet evacuated, empty. Civilians had been moved weeks ago. Only automated weapons platforms remained, firing from hidden positions. "Destroy the platforms and move on," Vexthor ordered. "They are trying to slow us down." But at every colony it was the same story. Empty worlds, automated defenses, no civilians to use as leverage. The humans had evacuated everyone to safety. They are not protecting their colonies, Vexthor realized. They are protecting their people. They will let us take empty worlds while their civilians stay safe. It was frustrating but brilliant. The confluence could occupy planets, but it meant nothing if no one was there. The fleet advanced toward Earth's inner system. Finally, they would face the main human fleet. Finally, a real battle. Then 3 confluence core worlds went dark. News arrived via emergency transmission. The confluence homeworlds of Vryn Prime, Krill 4, and Nexus Station had suffered simultaneous cyber attacks. Planetary shields had failed. Defense satellites were offline. Communication networks were destroyed. Power grids were damaged. No shots had been fired. No ships had attacked. But 3 of the confluence's most important worlds were helpless. The message from Admiral Kozlov was simple. "You brought war to our home. We brought it to yours. Withdraw now, or next time we will not be so gentle." The Galactic Council erupted in panic. How had humans reached their core worlds? How had they bypassed every defense? How had no one seen them coming? "Withdraw the fleet," some council members demanded. "Protect our home worlds." "No," others argued. "If we withdraw now, we look weak." "We must press forward." Vexthor stood on his bridge, watching the chaos unfold. He had fought in dozens of wars. He had won them all. But this was different. The humans were not fighting a war to win territory. They were fighting a war to make conquest impossible. Every victory the confluence achieved was meaningless. They took empty colonies. They destroyed automated defenses. But the humans themselves remained elusive, striking from the shadows always one step ahead. "Admiral, what are your orders?" his second-in-command asked. Vexthor looked at the tactical display. His fleet was still massive, still powerful, but it was bleeding, death by 1,000 cuts, and now the confluence homeworlds were vulnerable. He had 2 choices: press forward and risk losing everything, or admit defeat and withdraw. For the first time in his long military career, Grand Admiral Vexthor did not know what to do. Then another message arrived from Earth. This time, it was Secretary General Santos. "Grand Admiral Vexthor, we have been monitoring your communications. We know your council is divided. We know your fleet is suffering. We know you are a soldier following orders, so I am making you this offer directly. Peace talks, real negotiations, not surrender, not submission, but genuine peace between equals." She paused. "We have shown you we can hurt you. We have shown you we can reach your home worlds, but we have also shown restraint. We could have killed millions on your core worlds. We chose not to. That should tell you something about who we are. Meet with us, Admiral. Let us end this before more people die. Both sides have lost enough." Vexthor stared at the message for a long time. Then he made his decision. The neutral station orbited a dead star between human and confluence space. It was ancient, built by a species that had gone extinct millions of years ago. Both sides agreed it was safe ground for negotiations. Ambassador Thelkar arrived first. He had been reinstated for the peace talks despite his earlier failures. Or perhaps because of them. He understood humans better than anyone else in the confluence. Secretary General Santos and Admiral Kozlov arrived an hour later. Their ship was small but heavily armed. They took no chances. The two groups met in a large conference room. High Chancellor Morveth joined via holographic projection. So did several other council members. Everyone wanted to see how this would end. "Thank you for coming," Santos said as everyone took their seats. "We believe war serves no one." "You have killed thousands of our people," Councilmember Vrick said angrily. "You have attacked our homeworlds. And now you speak of peace?" "You invaded our space," Kozlov replied coldly. "You demanded our surrender. You brought war to us. We simply showed you the cost of that choice." "Enough," Morveth said tiredly. He looked older than before. The war had aged him. "We are here to discuss peace. Secretary General Santos, what are your terms?" Santos stood and activated a holographic display. "These are not terms of surrender. They are proposals for a genuine alliance." The confluence representatives leaned forward. "First," Santos said, "the galactic confluence must be reformed, not destroyed. Reformed. It should become a true federation where every species has equal representation and equal votes. No more protected species. No more forced annexation. All members join voluntarily and keep their sovereignty." "Impossible," Vrick said immediately. "The confluence has maintained order for 12,000 years because of strong central leadership. Democracy among 800 species would be chaos." "Would it?" Kozlov asked. "Or would it be stronger because every species has a stake in its success? Your current system breeds resentment. Species only join because they fear you. That is not strength. That is tyranny." Several council members began arguing at once. Morveth raised his staff for silence. "Continue, Secretary General," he said. "Second," Santos went on, "all species currently designated as protected must be offered full membership with equal rights. They can choose to stay or leave the new federation freely. No punishment for those who choose independence." "They will all leave," Gormath rumbled. "The federation will collapse." "Then it deserves to collapse," Santos said simply. "If your empire only exists through force, it has no right to exist." Thelkar found himself nodding slightly. He caught himself and stopped, but he agreed with her. He had seen too many species forced into submission. It had always bothered him, even if he had never admitted it. "Third," Santos continued, "immediate sharing of technology and resources among all members. No more hoarding knowledge. No more keeping other species dependent. Everyone contributes. Everyone benefits. You want our technology?" Fricks laughed. "You have already shown yours is superior. Why do you need ours?" "Because every species has something valuable to offer," Santos said. "Your medical technology could save billions of human lives. Your agricultural methods could feed worlds. Your art, your culture, your science. We want to learn from you, and we want you to learn from us. That is what real partnership means." The conference room fell silent. This was not what anyone had expected. The confluence had expected demands for territory, reparations, perhaps military restrictions. Instead, the humans were proposing something radical: actual cooperation. "Fourth," Santos said, "a mutual defense pact. If any member of the new federation is attacked, all members respond together. No species stands alone. We defend each other. You would defend us?" Morveth asked, surprised. "After we attacked you?" "Yes," Kozlov said firmly. "Because that is what allies do. You came at us as conquerors. We want you as partners." "There is a difference." Morveth sat back in his chair. He had ruled for thousands of years. He had seen empires rise and fall, but he had never seen anything like this. "Why?" he asked finally. "Why offer us this? You have shown you can hurt us badly. You could demand anything. Why offer partnership instead of revenge?" Santos smiled sadly. "Because we learned something long ago, High Chancellor. On Earth, we fought each other for thousands of years. Nation against nation, race against race, religion against religion. We nearly destroyed ourselves. Do you know what finally united us?" "What?" Morveth asked. "The realization that we were all human, that our similarities were greater than our differences, that we were stronger together than apart. It took us far too long to learn that lesson. We lost millions of lives learning it. We do not want the galaxy to make the same mistake." Admiral Kozlov stood up. "We could have destroyed your core worlds. We could have killed billions. We chose not to because that is not who we are. Yes, we are good at war. We have spent 10,000 years practicing it. But we are also good at peace. We have learned that strength is not just about weapons. Real strength is about choosing not to use them. He looked at each council member in turn. We do not want to rule you. We do not want to destroy you. We want to stand beside you as equals. We want to build something better than an empire. We want to build a real community of species working together. The conference room was silent for a long time. Finally, Morveth spoke. This will take time. Such radical changes cannot happen overnight. The council must debate. Member species must vote. There will be resistance. We understand, Santos said. Take all the time you need. But while you decide, the killing stops. Both sides withdraw to their own space. No more attacks. No more raids. A real ceasefire. Agreed, Morveth said. He looked at the other council members. Some nodded. Some looked uncertain. But none argued. The peace talks continued for 3 more days. Details were worked out. Compromises were made. Lawyers from a dozen species wrote and rewrote agreements. In the end, a treaty was signed. The Galactic Confluence would be dissolved and reformed as the Galactic Federation. All species would have equal representation. There would be a transition period of 5 years to implement all changes. Most importantly, the war was over. News spread across the galaxy. Some species celebrated, others were angry. Many were simply confused. Change was always difficult, but slowly, gradually, the new Federation took shape. Human technology began spreading to other species. Confluence medical science began saving human lives. Cultural exchanges started. Trade agreements were signed. Ambassador Thelkar was appointed as the first ambassador from the Vryn to Earth. On his first day, he met with Secretary General Santos in her office. I underestimated you, he admitted. All of us did. We saw primitive warriors. We did not see what you truly were. What are we? Santos asked with a smile. Teachers, Thelkar said simply. You taught the galaxy that respect cannot be demanded. It must be earned. You taught us that peace built on domination is no peace at all. And you taught us that the greatest strength is not in winning wars, but in choosing not to fight them. Santos nodded. We learned those lessons the hard way. We are just sharing what cost us so much to learn. Years later, historians would call it the Great Reformation, the moment when the galaxy changed from an empire to a true community, when 847 species stopped being subjects and became partners. And humanity, the species that had nearly been conquered, became known throughout the galaxy not as warriors, but as the species that taught the empire how to be free. The storm had passed. In its place, something better had grown,